my name is Jonathan Wilcox, and this week for the art discussion forum I chose the painting that I also used to lead this week's discussion forum. It is a Baroque area painting and it is titled, The Rape of the Sabine Women by Nicolas Poussin. Before I discuss the painting and the emotions it evoked, I want to first give a history lesson so any other student who is watching will be able to understand exactly why I feel the way I do. The first thing I want to cover is what exactly is Baroque. Baroque was a style in art that used exaggerated motion and clear, easily interpreted detail to produce drama, tension, exuberance, and grandeur from sculpture, painting, literature, and music. The Baroque style started around 1600 in Rome, Italy, and spread to most of Europe. In music, the Baroque applies to the final period of dominance of imitative counterpoint. The popularity and success of the Baroque was encouraged by the Catholic Church when it decided that the drama of the Baroque artist style could communicate religious themes in direct and emotional involvement. The secular aristocracy also saw the dramatic style of Baroque architecture and art as a means of impressing visitors and would-be competitors. Baroque palaces are built round an entrance sequence of courts, anterooms, grand staircases, and reception rooms of sequentially increasing magnificence. Many forms of art, music, architecture, and literature inspired each other in the Baroque cultural movement. The Baroque originated around 1600. The canon promulgated at the Council of Trent, 1545-63, by which the Roman Catholic Church addressed the representational arts by demanding that paintings and sculptures in church contexts should speak to the illiterate rather than to the well-informed, is customarily offered as an inspiration of the Baroque, which appeared, however, a generation later. This turn toward a populist conception of the function of ecclesiastical art is seen by many art historians as driving the innovations of Caravaggio and the Carracci brothers, all of whom were working and competing for commissions in Rome around 1600. Now that we understand the history of the style of painting I want to go over some history of the Poussin painting. According to Beller, the Italian biographer of Poussin, the canvas was painted for Cardinal Albi Mutier, who kept it until his death in 1685. His inheritors then sold it to Louis XIV. The king was anxious to build up a collection of the artist's works. Despite his absence from the Parisian scene, he lived in Italy all his life except for a stay in Paris between 1640 and 1642. Poussin was still a model for the painters of the Accademia. He had already completed a composition on the same theme in 1633-34 for Marital de Crecchi, who was then on a mission to Rome. This first version is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York. The same subjects were often painted by Poussin after an interval of several years, so this is not an isolated example. It means we can judge his ability to inject new life into his compositions, the most famous example being that of the Sacraments, where he executed 2 series of 7 paintings. Another thing, I want to give a brief description of the painting. The painting depicts one of the mythical episodes surrounding the history of ancient Rome. The city has just been founded by Romulus, and the Romans wish to ensure the future prosperity of their young nation. As there is a lack of women to provide the necessary offspring, they plan a mass abduction. They invite the neighboring Sabines to a feast during which they seize the women and drive off the men. 3 years later, the Sabines attack Rome in revenge. But the conflict is prevented thanks to the women, who stand between their brothers and their husbands, to whom they have become reconciled. Thus, peace was achieved between the two peoples. Poussin has chosen to illustrate the scene of the abduction. Romulus stands on the left, dominating the proceedings, in a pose directly inspired by imperial statues. In the central section, the painter emphasizes the panic and confrontation between the men and women. This all takes place against an architectural background and linear perspective, which gives the work its vanishing point. Also of interest is the way the artist has organized the figures, using 2 diagonal lines that start from the edges of the picture and join up where there is a gap in the landscape, thus making the work more dynamic. Finally, The last thing I want to cover is how this painting really makes me feel as a viewer. It evokes straight chaos in my mind. His piece reveals several emotions at one time. The biggest one for me: chaos. This is an attack on women, and all I can see are muscular men, and look like they are ready to kill. Another reason I can easily feel the chaos is that when wars or attacks break out, everyone always leaves the women and children out of it. In this painting, the main attack is on the women and children.